Hi, this is our group project for group number 4. My name is Sarah Kuhang. There's also Megan Shuttlesworth and Alana Christopher. So, project management methodologies set up guidelines for technology projects. Many organizations utilize timelines, charts, and theories. A project charter keeps the discipline of the project while working under time management conditions. When delivering a project, the top priority is to improve the structure of the business and complete customer satisfaction. So, when a company writes up a project charter, they present it to the stakeholders and customers and investors. And if the customer is happy, then you have a potentially a quality project. So a Gantt chart is basically a useful timeline. It displays events, start dates, duration of each task, who does what and for how long, and the completion of those dates. And the Six Sigma theory is a quality principle method that supplies organizations techniques to improve the structure of a business, and that is what we used to talk about the Boeing Company. So the Boeing Company is one of the world's largest aerospace company and leading manufacturers of commercial jetliners. They manufacture C-17s, C-130s, other kinds of jets. A lot of the time, though, they do cargo planes. And the Boeing Company has developed a project which allows for robotics to implement a laser projection system that will paint aircraft. When creating this, Boeing's initial benefits were to increase productivity and speed by using the robots, improve the final quality of the product, and decrease the costs of manufacturing. So, to do this, they integrated the Six Sigma theory, and a project manager, he had to change the culture of the organization to make it Six Sigma. And he did this by training his project team. So, Six Sigma, what is it? So, to define the problem, to measure the current process, to analyze the cause of the problem, to improve the process, and to control the new process. So, how did Boeing use Six Sigma, one of the methodologies? So, I'll just go by saying that obviously the technology project was a robot that could paint aircraft. So, in the define phase, the purpose of the define phase is to define the scope of the project. Since painting the aircraft is one of the most complex tasks, Boeing's project scope is aimed to establish project improvement, productivity, and cost. So, to make the project more effective. Essentially, the robot would do a better job painting, it would be more productive about it, and also it would cost less in the long run. So, the purpose of the Six Sigma method is providing efficiency to a product or project and to save money in the process. So, due to aircraft painting being a strenuous task, creating a robot to make the job higher quality and more accurate was the best option for the Boeing Company. They wanted the aircraft to be painted beautifully, and they wanted it to be done by being cost effective, and this was the best way to do it. Measure. So this phase is utilized to gather information about the current states of the project. So determine how long does it actually take for the team members to paint the aircraft? Is it potentially hazardous? So the difficulty. So measuring the overall cost and effect of the activity was how Boeing used the measuring process of the Six Sigma. Analyze. So how did Boeing use analyze? So it helped focus on the problem statement. Boeing used a cause-effect analysis to identify the common causes of the problem. So one problem was the inconsistent method with humans. So when you think about it, a robot is hardwired to be consistent every single time. So the key solution is that the robots will paint the same process throughout the entire project. So during the analyze phase, when the project team was having meetings, Boeing also adopted an FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis, to examine the cause and effect of their previous practices and what caused the failure. So what caused the failure? essentially human error. To improve. So, how did Boeing improve this? So, during this phase, the goal is to demonstrate the development of the project so that implementation can take place. Boeing demonstrates a robotic laser projection system that will be used for several tasks when painting the aircraft. The laser will indicate the steps of the process and position the markings on the aircraft accordingly. So when you see markings on an aircraft, especially a United States, a USAF aircraft, most of the time that was painted by a robot. So as indicated, the FMEA carried out during the analysis phase enabled the causes for the failure mode to be determined and ranked according to RPI. Once the causes had been prioritized, the actions that had to be taken to correct them were determined. So you cannot improve upon a project if you do not know what is wrong with it first. So that is what they did. They figured out what was wrong and how to improve it. So the control phase. So in order to make certain that the project manager and project team would continue to have a successful project, Boeing would have to control future performances of the aircraft painting technology. So it was proven that their aircraft painting technology was a success, and they would continue to make it so for future aircraft projects. So essentially, the project manager would have to make sure that the robot would do the same thing every single time, that it would create a quality product every time, and that is the control phase that Boeing had. So if the team is committed, resources are available, proper training is involved, and the ability to perform each phase effectively, then the project will produce a favorable outcome. So obviously the team was using Six Sigma, so they were committed. Resources were available because they had a high budget of around $1 million. Proper training was involved because the project manager infused Six Sigma into the culture of the organization, and the ability to perform each phase effectively. So not only did the people perform effectively, but the technology project did, the robot. So it produced a favorable outcome. So project management tools, project charter. So a project charter identifies the objectives, the goals, the scope, and the participants. So who does what, and what the goals are of the project, and also who's going to manage that project, who the project managers are, also mentioning the stakeholders, and also mentioning the investors. And they present this project charter at the very beginning, and when the stakeholder signs off on it, then that's what goes. So work breakdown structure, it is basically a timeline, a visual representation of the sequence of events. So the 6 knowledge areas that are used are project integration, management, project stakeholder management, project cost, project time, scope, and quality management. So in the project charter, so a project charter identifies the goals and objectives and scope and the participants, like we said. So the investors were defined in the project charter, and what was that? That was project integration management. And it also was presented to stakeholders, project stakeholder management. And in order to make the budget, they used project cost management. So WBS and Gantt chart. So the Gantt chart, it is a sequence of events, and this allowed for project time management and listing the work that each person would do. That was scope management. And like I was saying before, is that when the quality of the project is good, then, or if the customers are happy, then the quality of the project will for sure be good, and that is project quality management, and that is what was shown in the Gantt chart. You can refer back to that on our paper. Final thoughts. So Boeing is known for designing and manufacturing airplanes. They needed a more efficient and effective way to paint aircraft in order to lower production costs, to increase profits, ensure quality, and make certain that their team members were safe from harm. So they developed a technology project using the Six Sigma methods, a robot that could paint their aircraft, and they are still using it to this day, and it is a success. And It's a great way to represent how a methodology is applied to a technology project. So, this is our presentation. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoyed it.